you should make a radical change in your lifestyle. I mean, the core of man's spirit comes from new experiences. Into the Wild, an American bestseller, would create a spark within me that would actually question where the great sense of adventure was at. The things that we were promised in our adolescence feel no longer tangible. However, as I connected the dots between this book and other American bestsellers like Phil Knight's Shoe Dog, the Autobiography of Malcom X, and Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist, I sensed that the difference between those men and me weren't that different. They had the same questions that we all have, and they suffered in the same way that we do. And yet, through that tribulation, they created beautiful and amazing stories that we all try to imitate. And so today, I hope that you'll join me with the beautiful California landscape as I provide to you some of these beautiful quotes and use these words as tools to push ourselves forward to create a life that no longer focuses on external sources of control, but brings them back to our own locus of control. In the journey of self-discovery, education becomes the compass guiding us to enlightenment. Just from the beginning, a very recognizable trait that we see among every one of our main characters is their inability to wait for their friends. And I think that this is a very important fact to keep in the back of our heads. Sometimes the current friends that we have, unfortunately, do not understand our circumstances. And as sad and unfortunate as that may seem, it is a needed step in order to get our grand adventure started. And I don't think there's a better example than Malcolm X, formerly Malcolm Little, who was an inarticulate, uneducated young man, but after a criminal offense went to jail. The last place you would think someone would want to study religion, history, and philosophy. Through repetition and his own inner will, Malcolm became one of the most highly educated young men in the civil rights movements and was a powerful, articulate young man because of that genuine desire to really start. And it's an unfortunate truth that sometimes the people that surround us the most don't understand our needs. Not because the people around us are trying to be mean or inconsiderate, but because our imagination is difficult for them to grasp, and we need to put in our effort to bring it into the real world. The cowards never started and the weak died along the way. That leaves us, ladies and gentlemen, us. Phil Knight was the founder of Nike and someone who went to one of the best business schools in the world. But in his 20s, he was still very confused as to who he was and what he was trying to do. All he knew was that he had a fundamental belief in running. He believed that if people ran 1 hour a day, the world would be a much better place. The only way that he knew how to bring this idea to life was to start a business. Now, he did have the unfair advantage of going to one of the best business schools, but that was completely by accident. And so I think this is a great example of just allowing the process to marinate and trusting what is right within our line of sight. But most importantly, to have belief in whatever system you want to create. Because of this, Nike has become one of the most valuable companies on the planet, and it is the most recognized logo in the entire world. Now, none of us have to build a multi-billion-dollar company, but we do have to have genuine belief in what we're trying to build if we hope to make things different than they were yesterday. Tell your heart the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself, and that no heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams. This next piece of wisdom comes from The Alchemist and states that we already know our own personal legend. It is what we desire the most and has already been set within ourselves pre-birth. Throughout the book, we hear about the main character's journey, Santiago, a sheep hurdler who wants nothing but his grand treasure. And him being a sheep hurdler is a representation of many of us who are unwilling to let go of comfort and conformity in order to chase our own internal goals. What I loved the most about The Alchemist in its overarching theme is that we have to leave our hometown in order to truly test ourselves, but the universe rewards us by giving us characters and trials that align with those goals. And I think what each book highlights here is we already know our own personal legend, have the necessary skills to put it all together and figure it out along the way. And in the end, the universe conspires to help you in any way, shape, and form that it can, bring characters and tribulations that you already know how to overcome. And that's all I have for some of my favorite literary books. Let me know if you would like to see individual videos for each and every one of these, as I think they are truly timeless pieces of work. But as always, remember, reality isn't made out of matter, but what matters.